Good to see you all this morning. Good to see so many friendly faces in the crowd. Most of you all know Dominion from a little project we have going on down the road here that many of you in the audience had something to do with its success, and we appreciate everything that you've done for us there. Many of you don't know about what a diverse company that Dominion is, and I'd really like to talk to you this morning about how diverse we are and some of the things that we're doing on the renewable front and in the conservation area. Dominion is diverse, as I've mentioned, in addition to what you know traditionally as Virginia Power and our service territory in Virginia. We have over 27,000 megawatts of generation stations in 14 different states in the U.S. And that ranges from our nuclear stations in Wisconsin and Connecticut to our coal plants here in Virginia and West Virginia, but also in Illinois, in Massachusetts, and in Indiana. And then you can see, kind of tough to see, but the little wind turbines there are existing wind facilities in West Virginia and Indiana, and our planned wind facilities in Illinois and here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, Wise County and Tazewell County, which I'll speak a little bit more to in the future in this speech. So we're very diverse from a generation standpoint. We're also diverse as far as owning electric transmission and distribution. In addition to our company in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we also own Dominion North Carolina Power, which includes the Outer Banks region. From a natural gas standpoint, even though we sold our oil and gas production business last year for over $16 billion, we still retain pretty large assets in the natural gas area. We are the largest natural gas storage company in North America, with natural gas storage fields in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. We also have a very large natural gas pipeline in, you can see, in the New York and Pennsylvania area. We also own one of the few operating liquefied natural gas facilities in the U.S., our Cove Point facility in Maryland. And we have natural gas distribution companies in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio. As you heard the Congressman talk about today, there are many debates going on in Congress about carbon capture and storage. This is not the first time that the Congress has decided to get into the energy business. As was mentioned, the DOE was formed in the 70s when we went through one of our former oil crises. Knowing that Congress likes to get involved in our business, we've always felt like it was very important to be diverse, because you never know which part of the industry is going to get hit hardest by the next regulation to come along. So this diversity also translates into our generation mix. You can see we're pretty balanced here among coal, nuclear, natural gas, hydro, oil, and there's a very small sliver of renewables. You can see on the production side, though, because of the nature of how inexpensive it is to generate, nuclear and coal dominates the production area. That little sliver at 4% is renewable, which includes hydro and pumped storage hydro. Pumped storage hydro, which the Congressman described, is not currently being contemplated in the renewables legislation as qualifying as renewable. So that diversity sets us up very well compared to our peers here in looking at carbon intensity. And that's something that every company in the utility industry is studying very closely right now. What does our carbon intensity look like? Because as these bills are being contemplated, whether it's going to be $7 a ton or $20 a ton or $40 a ton for CO2, there is going to be a tremendous cost to the allowances for emitting CO2. So those companies that are positioned on the right side of this chart are going to be in better shape than those on the left side of this chart. And as the Congressman mentioned, there's a pretty intense debate going on right now as to whether these costs will be passed through and how they will be passed through. So we are paying very close attention. In addition to watching what's going on in the Congress, In Virginia, we've also undergone some very rapid changes here in the last year. In 1998, Virginia was actually deregulated across the Commonwealth from an electricity standpoint. You had 10 years where you probably didn't know it, but you could choose your electric service provider. If you're in this territory, AEP's costs are so low compared to most others that it's doubtful that you would have chosen anyone else. In our service territory, we saw very little choice develop. Most people chose to stay with us. So the General Assembly in 2007 decided this retail choice is not really taking off, and they decided to re-regulate us. As a part of that re-regulation, we were required on March 31st of this year to come in and file our first base rate case since 1992. We have not filed for increased rates in our system since 1992. Since 1998, our customers' rates have been frozen completely. So as a result, in a very trying economic time, it was a very difficult decision, but it was mandated by the General Assembly to come forward with a base rate increase. And in addition to that, we were required to come through with our annual fuel filing. Fuel costs have come down pretty substantially since the last year. We also had filings on the Virginia City plant down the road, our recently approved natural gas-fired facility in Buckingham County, and in addition to that, demand-side management, conservation and load management, and renewables. The bottom line is, folks, that everything that the Congressman talked about today costs money. And the debate is going to be on how much this is going to get passed through to the consumers and what impact it is going to have on our economy. We can do almost everything that's being discussed, but the question is, what is the consumer going to be willing to pay for? And a lot of that debate is going to play out right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia as you watch us go forward with these proposed rate increases. A lot of that is for our new electric infrastructure, smart grid that's being talked about. Yes, that's possible. Yes, it's very expensive. Demand-side management, conservation load efforts. Yes, that's possible. Yes, it's very expensive. And there'll be a lot of debate, as the Congressman was talking about. You can change your behaviors to run your dishwasher at 11 o'clock at night or run your dryer at 11 o'clock at night to save money. There's a lot of debate on how much folks are willing to actually do that. If you save $1 or $5 a month, are you willing to change those kind of behaviors? A lot of that is going to play out. I talk to some of my buddies all the time. Who would have guessed that the energy business would have been so exciting when I got out of college? By the way, the most important bullet is down there at the bottom. Our rates will still be far below the national average, even after if we receive these proposed rate increases from the Virginia State Corporation Commission. Virginia Power is in a very unique situation compared to some of our brethren across the country. Of course, you all know we're in pretty tough economic times. Florida, Arizona, Nevada, California have been hardest hit. In Florida, some of the utilities down there are actually seeing negative growth for the first time in 45 years. That's how bad the economy is in some of these areas that have been hardest hit, mostly in the housing industry. Virginia Power is very blessed. A lot of our service territory is dependent upon the military. When you look at the Northern Virginia region and the Hampton Roads region, we have quite a few military bases, and they are expanding rapidly. They need more service from Virginia Power. In addition to that, because